Welcome everybody, share number 905. We're learning today Le'ilei Nishmas Moshe Dov Ben Baron Zisel, Le'ilei Nishmas Blima Bas Rab Moshe, El Refuah Shalem Eliyahu Ben Dina Malka. Getting back to our malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH. Okay, so I just want to explain there's another part of MAKEH B'PATISH, Tikkun Mona, and so on, which are some various different gezeros midrabanan, whereby Chazal said that we shouldn't do certain actions on Shabbos because of the fact that it might bring us to doing actions of boina, but MAKEH B'PATISH, or Tikkun Mona. In other words, making something, fixing something, or the like. So we're going to see if we could go through. There's still, I do want to mention, there are still some various different shilas, of course, that do come up in reference to MAKEH B'PATISH and Tikkun Mona, which we'll get back to, or we'll go through in the middle, and we'll see, how they apply. But I just want to start to go through a little bit, and maybe we'll go a little bit back and forth, all being part of the malacha of MAKEH B'PATISH, Tikkun Mona, and some of the various different gezeres which taka come up. So just to go through a few, the Sefer Lamites Malachas brings them down basically, it's about 6 of them roughly, on page 1159. So he says, the first one, just to give the categories, and then we're not going to get to them this year, but we're just to have an idea. What it's all about, and we'll try and go through each one a little bit individually and see how they apply. The first one is in reference to musical instruments on Shabbos. So we're going to see, we'll try and talk about how that works. There's various different, some people are under the opinion you're allowed to clap on Shabbos. Some say you're not allowed to clap on Shabbos, regular clapping. We've seen back and forth. The Shulchan Aruch actually says straight out, but there's various different minhagim with that. But we're going to see how that works. You have clapping, regular singing, dancing. Singing, of course, we know. Regular Shabbos Zemiris dancing. Clapping, there's various different type of inyanim. But we're gonna see how they apply and how we work with them. Today. You have banging a beat, for example, banging a beat. I know I myself used to play drums many years ago. Sometimes, people like you hear a song by Shabbos Zemiris, it's so beautiful, you start to play a beat on bang a beat on the table. Is that allowed to be done? So these are that's one category. Just to just the start of categories. That's one category, and we'll see what the gezerah was. It was a whole gezerah that Chazal made in reference to whereby one might start to fix or make a musical instrument. Okay, so that's one area. There's another area of tefillas kelim, which is basically toivelin kelim. How exactly that works and what exactly is the the problem over there and why we can't do it? Does it look like Tikkun Mona? What actually is Tikkun Mona? Okay, so that's another category which we have to work on. Again, falling under this the guidelines of MAKEH B'PATISH. Is another interesting category is swimming on Shabbos, regular swimming on Shabbos. Besides the exercise part of it. There's a isser to do strenuous to do exercise in general on Shabbos, but we'll see how exactly that works. Unless somebody is actually somebody runs to do a mitzvah, but just going jogging and these type of inyanim, that is not for exercise purposes, not allowed to be done on Shabbos in general. There are some extenuating circumstances where one is allowed to, but we're not going to get into that right now. But the actual swimming on Shabbos, that's also another category which we have to talk about a little bit. Whereby also Chazal were afraid that one might come to make a raft and so on. We'll see how exactly that comes into play. Now, there's another interesting concept also falling under MAKEH B'PATISH, and that is folding linens and garments and these type of things, which is a little bit of a category on itself. In other words, somebody has a pair of pants, let's say, and they have a line, right? It was pressed out nicely during the week, and now they take it off on Shabbos and they want to fold it on the line. Are you allowed to fold it on the line? Person has a talus. They finished davening. Are you allowed to fold your talus on the line? Or do you have to fold it backwards, or do you have to just, roll it up? I mean, what are you supposed to do with the talus? Folding on the line, is that a problem? What about a tablecloth? Folding up a tablecloth, linens, these various different type of things. So we're going to see how that works. It falls basically under the category when when a person has a line in these various different type of garments, it looks like a tikkun mana type of an action, whereby you're actually fixing it. But we're going to discuss the various different ins and outs, how that works and how it applies, and what actually is the gezerah. In reference to folding items on Shabbos where there is a crease or a line. Now we're not talking about the issue of hachana, whereby somebody says, well, I'll fold something up for after Shabbos, and it's for after Shabbos, so that's, of course, preparations for the week, or even for next Shabbos, whatever. That's a whole separate issue. Right now, we're just on the MAKEH B'PATIsh is basically folding items on creases and so on, which we have to see how exactly that works. And one more that Hitaka brings down that the Sefer Lamites Malachas is infusing a scent into a garment or into objects in these various moiled reach. Moiled reach is basically the guidelines that it falls under. How does exactly that work? When somebody sprays something, am I allowed to spray, a garment? Could I spray my shirt with cologne? Could I spray? How about spray deodorant? Is that a problem? Does it apply to the body? Does it apply to garments only? So we have to see how exactly that is going to work. So Lemaisa, these are some of the various different gezeras that taka fall. There is one other one actually which we did talk about a little bit, and that is taking challah, separating challah on Shabbos. We spoke about that. We saw that is also, we brought that down, the Sefer Shabbos Home brought that down from the Shulchan Aruch. We spoke about that a little bit. That's also part of the gezeras under the rabbinical restrictions, if you want to call it, which fall under MAKEH B'PATIsh and tikkun mana. That's why you can't take challah. In general, we don't take challah on Shabbos. Okay, so we're going to see how that works. Just an interesting question. Another thing which is actually falls under the instruments part of it, which we're going to talk about, is whistling. Is somebody allowed to whistle on Shabbos? Obviously, we're not talking about where they're playing an actual instrument, but just whistling. Somebody whistles with their finger, with their lips, or however it is. Is that going to fall under the category of whereby one might come to make instruments and these various different type of things? But we're going to talk about that and see how that comes into play. Okay, so I just wanted to, make everybody aware of some of the various different categories, the rabbinical restrictions, as you want to call it, as he brings down, midrabanan, certain gezeros and so on, that everybody should be aware of. But we're going to try, again, we're going to go through each one, Bezras Hashem, and see, where they apply on a weekly Shabbos, and what exactly we could do in conjunction with those Isur Midrabanan, and what exactly we could do, what exactly we can't do. And then we'll see how it applies. And Bezras Hashem, like we said, we're not finished. There are still shilas, various different shilas that come up in reference to MAKEH B'PATIsh, tikkun mana, and we will see, Bezras Hashem, how exactly they will apply. All right, so everybody, thank you for listening. Hatzlacha and bracha, kol tov.